So we haven't had a specific talk about workers' rights in a little bit, but I thought this would be a great opportunity to hop into it right now. So in India, at this very moment, there is a massive strike. And when I say massive, I mean basically the biggest strike ever. And when I say basically the biggest strike ever, I mean the literally biggest strike ever. The world's largest general strike of workers and farmers in India is happening right now. It's over 250 million workers join in for a national strike that has made it the world's largest general strike ever. And one of the reasons why they are striking is because the right wing government that is in charge over India right now has pushed through changes that will revoke the support prices for lots of farmers. So basically, when they sell something, there is a minimum price. That it will go for, and if they can't get it, this is what I've been able to pick up so far. The government will fill that gap to help support small farmers to make sure that lots of people can get fed because India is a massive country, so people can get fed even if there's not as much money to go around to help people out. The government's trying to revoke that in the middle of a massive pandemic, and people aren't having it. This is a coalition of public and private sector workers, farming and non farming workers, 250 million people, 1 in 4 of India's people have participated in this general strike to completely freeze the country to make sure that people can get the support that they need during a extremely difficult time for all people around the world, and especially for people who are extremely poor in India. And there it's not, and you can't even attack this for being completely, without merit or with having no specific wants, because they do actually. They have a couple of demands. Direct cash transfer of 7,500 of their currency, which equates to about $101 to all families who earn less than the income tax threshold. 10 kilograms free rations per person every month to all who need. Expansion of the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act to provide employment to those from the current 100 days to 200 days of work in rural areas. Withdrawal all of the anti-worker labor code changes from the and anti-farmer laws, and stop privatization of public sector corporations, including those in the finance sector. Stop the corporatization of government-run manufacturing and services in title entities in railways, ordnance manufacturing, ports, and similar areas. Now, this is amazing. And I know lots of people, lots of you all are thinking, "Oh, workers' strike, oh, socialism, pog." No. I would hazard to bet that most of the people engaging in this sort of protest are not socialist in any sort of way, and may not even have any views towards any sort of economic system that would be different than just feeding their family. Um, with that being said, this massive mobilization and solidarity among India is just something to behold, that America can really take, that America does not resonate with, very sadly. Workers' rights in our country is being attacked every single day by the right, and being ignored by the left, and it is extremely disheartening and disappointing to watch a lot of people suffer, and some people even die because of massive entities, massive corporations, and politicians being able to privatize sectors that should be made to just guarantee basic life for some groups of people, with no pushback whatsoever among the working populace. And the thing is, none of these demands are either like pie in the sky or some sort of like really big thing. These are just sort of really even bare bones ask that should be entitled just, common. I hate to say it, it's like common sense should be something that everybody should agree with, but the right wing government does not. It is sink or swim. live or die, make it or don't, and they don't care if you don't. And the only people that they care about are the ones putting money into their pocket. And since you have no money, they don't care about you that much. And it's really sad to see. But one thing that isn't sad to see is that this vein isn't something new in India. Fighting for their rights is something that Indians have are not acquainted to whatsoever, whether that comes from the occupation of Britain in India back in the time of Gandhi, or even 4 years ago where they broke their own record and they had about 150 million people uh, uh, um, protest in a massive general strike that froze the country even back then. And this time it's gotten so much worse that they even had to get more people out there, 250 million people, to protest what the government's doing and putting through these active anti-worker and privatization laws through that hurt the people of India under their own noses in their own country. And I wanted to cover this for a plethora of reasons, but one of the big reasons is solidarity. I remember there was a massive workers movement going on in Mexico, and not many people covered that. And it is really unfortunate that not even the mainstream media here covered a massive thing that was happening in a country just south of the border to us. Lots of things that happen in Mexico, lots of things that happen in Mexico can affect the U.S. Not even the southern border, just the U.S. as a whole. They're a massive trading company with my bad. They're a massive trading country with us. At the end of the day, when they're affected, we're affected too. And this is one of the big reasons why we need solidarity across not only our sector, not only our country, but across the globe, to make sure that when one person's rights are being taken away, we all cannot be free, because we all deserve those rights. And if they're not getting it, we need to ensure that they can, because it can easily be taken away from us and justify and the normality of our rights being taken away and being used as tools and being used by the owning class as just cogs in their machines is something that can prevail, and it has been prevailing in this country. Thankfully, we've had a lot of leftist and pro-worker movement starting to fight back against that, but it's the vein of just knowing your place and staying there is something that hasn't gone away so far. We can have this. Thankfully, we have a lot of pro-worker people pushing to make great change in this country. Bernie Sanders, AOC, the rest of the progressive movement, Ilhan Omar, Jamal Bowman, Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley, people along those lines, and lots of people that I can't even begin to name, working in their communities in a much smaller level, not just national level, a much smaller level, to get things changed at the ground for them, where they have a far more influence than the national stage. And that's where I would love for you to start, if you may. Start out in your community. It's great to look at things happening in India and see a lot of 250 million people, almost like 2/3 the size of our country, striking and freezing the country and stopping the government from taking their rights away, privatizing the things that they need to survive. It's great to see that, but it didn't start that way. It didn't just appear out of nowhere. It was on the ground movement, mobilization of workers and working class people, the unemployed, the poor, all of these sorts of people who have been wronged by their society and forgotten by their government, to push them to hope and wish and dream for something better, because that's what they can have. You can have it. It's not pie in the sky. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't have it. You can have it. And these people know that, and they're trying to take it from a government that's been trying to take it from them ever since they had the opportunity to. Don't let these sorts of things get to your head and make you feel like you can't do it. It's not out of grasp. Their rights are not out of grasp, and us having this as well is not out of grasp either. They're trying to take away minimum wage. They're trying to take away unionization. On top of that, they're using the arm of the police as well to crack down on smaller protesters. This is one of the reasons this is one of the things that sparked the movement to be so much bigger, because the right wing government saw a bunch of pro workers' rights people popping up and doing protests, and they decided to crack down on them. But when the size of most countries in the world has started to rise up and freeze the country and say, no, we will not stand for this, it's way harder to send all the police to crack down on those people now, isn't it? And the Indian government has started to learn that the hard way. Don't ever let them think that they can intimidate you into silence and obedience in this sort of way. They're your rights, and making sure that you can get them is one of the most fundamental things that you can do to improve the world and your community that you can grab right now.